everyone, my name is Boris. I work as a management consultant and an innovation consultant for, let's say, last 10 to 15 years. Mostly with small and medium-sized enterprises. I'm coming from Croatia, which is also a small country, also in transition. So I think that I can relate to some of your problems, and that's why we try to give them insights about innovations and everything that goes in. So actually you are stuck with me for the next 2 hours. I will first give you broad information about innovation and what you learn about we as a management science learned in the last 20 years about how to create innovation, and then I will talk about the idea and how to formulate the idea. There will be a time for questions and answers, but if you have a very short question and think that I can give you a very short answer, you can interrupt me, just raise your hand and I will try to give a short answer after your short question. I don't have a problem with interruptions, but it's too crowded. So maybe later on during the workshop I will take for a broader discussion. So the first question is, why innovation? Is it because innovation now is a buzzword? You can hear here in Moldova, we can hear a lot about innovation in Croatia, we can hear a lot about innovation in the European Union, so everyone talks about innovation. So is it just a buzzword or it's something important? It seems that it's not your matter of choice, especially if you are entrepreneurs. Basically, it's something that you need to do in order that your business survives. So if you want to that your business prosper for longer than 6, 12 months or a year or 2 or 3, you need to innovate. There is a great probability that you are already innovating, but you just don't call it. Because, like you will see, innovation is not about inventors and inventions. It's not just about creating some new ideas. It's about creating money. It's about creating new businesses. And that's very important to know when you are talking about innovation. It's not about getting medal on some innovation trade show or exhibition. It's not about patents. It's about creating businesses. So that is the answer when someone from the small or medium or even big company comes and asks, why should I innovate? Because you want your business to survive. And that's the answer for that question, and that's how I look at innovation. Because innovation is not something new. It's something new with market impact. So if you just create something new without creating money for your company, without creating benefits for your customers, without creating competitiveness for your country and new jobs, so it's not innovation, it's just invention. So if you want to be inventor, nice. You can be inventor, you can work in some small like warehouse or whatever, but if you want to create innovations, you need to land on the market and you need to make money, because that innovation is about making money, it's not about creating new things. So basically, if you want to create impact, you will create value for your customers. So that's why I won't talk about a lot about creativity or about inventing things. I will much more talk about which problem you want to solve, to whom you are going to create value, and on which markets you want to make profit. Because it's a numbers game and it's a business game. It's not creativity game, and it's very important for us to start talking. Because usually, in previous times, inventions or innovations were thought as something, some guys in the laboratory creating new stuff. Well, that is inventions. But innovations do not end there. In order to create innovations, you need to pull the things out of the laboratory, out of your development process, and to make sure that you can deliver those things on the market. So we will talk a lot about everything else, not just creative. We learned about how to create innovations. Let's say from the looking of not looking on the success stories, but looking at how the greatest companies actually gone bust. So what was the cause for the bankruptcy of the greatest, nicest companies, like Google 20 years ago, like or Facebook, or so those companies that were at that time the greatest companies that everyone wanted to work, and then busted in 2 or 3 years. So that one guy started to try to find out why they went bankrupt, and then he found some things that allow now to create innovation as a systematic process. So actually, I will use the example of Turkey birth, because from the perspective of Turkey, especially those Turkeys that are grown in industrial growth, when they are small, they are given smaller grains in smaller pots with just a little water. When they are growing bigger, they go to bigger grains and much more water. If it's warm outside, they start to open windows and cool breeze. If it's winter outside, they close the windows and start to heat. So basically, from the perspective of regular Turkey, the life is perfect. And even each day is much better than previous day, because everyone wants to make it happen. And nothing prepares them for the change of the rules. And change of the rules is a surprise for them. So very similar things happen to those big successful companies, and they are quite surprised and basically gone bust. And that is one very specific type of innovation, which is called disruptive innovation, which this guy, let's say, saw 20 years ago, and based on those disruptive innovations, we actually started to learn how to create innovations, how to create even ordinary innovations. It's like, so these innovations are like, you have dinosaurs, and then out of the gloom came some meteor and killed everyone, and then mammals started to be new dinosaurs, and now we're waiting new meteor to bring some other type of life form on the earth. So what he saw that there is a normal company wants to service their existing customers. So basically they are listening to their customers. And normal management wants to protect their owners. So basically they want to maximize their profits. And that is a catch. Because he saw that there is, well, I will try to look for here. So this is like in any computer, there is, let's say, the power of the processor defines how computer is good. So that is performance of that computer. So I, as a customer, has a need for some level of processing power. When I was writing my master thesis at my university, I was typing my thesis on a very old computer, and the processor was not so good, so my typing was faster than the letters that were shown on the screen. It was a long time ago. In time, my typing was even better, so my need was going higher. But actually, looking from the processor point of view, this is the something that industry offered. So at the beginning, the processor's performance was much lower than my needs. So I would pay for stronger processor. At one point, it was just exactly what I need. Now, I have a processor that is much better than I need. I'm buying new processor because of my ego, not because I need a stronger processor, because I can type as fast as I want. I cannot be faster than my professor. And this is the regular way of how innovations are created. So this is sustaining, even the radical innovation, but basically they were creating new, better processors in order to improve my possibility to type. At one point, something called tablet or something, well, crappy solution arises. So this is crappy solution. And no one from those guys who buy those processors wants that crappy solution, because it's crappy. But it's 10 or 100 times cheaper, or it's more practical, it's more easier to use, or don't need so much electricity, but usually it's much, much cheaper. And okay, I don't want to buy because I'm the regular guy who buys laptops. And I'm buying laptops for, I don't know, $2,000 or whatever. And tablets are $200. And okay, but at one point, tablets are good enough for me. And they are still 200, and the industry of 2000 is dead. Because they cannot custom their business model, value proposition, profit model to those things 10 times cheaper. So this is mechanisms that are shown in steel industry, in truck industry, in computer industry, in shipbuilding industry, in pharma industry. So it was shown in various industries. It's just a question if new generation comes every 2 years or every 50 years. But this will come. So it will come in financial industry, so it will come in any industry, and you just need to understand what is going on. Because if you have obsolete business model, if you are on this type of business and the new business is coming, actually your business will vanish. So this is one thing to know. But those innovations are quite rare, and it's not usually it's not the case. But just for you to know, because if you want to apply some EU funds, this is important word to understand. So sometimes it's from new, if it's much easier to use in, let's say, open, well, difference between desktop computers and laptop computers, because I could use laptop computers whenever I want. Desktop computers I must have to power implant very near. So that is new market disruption. And when laptops are good enough compared to desktop computers, no one wants to buy desktop computer, everyone starts to buy laptops. So this is type of way how to disrupt. Just to understand, if you want to see if you have an idea for disruption, you just need to question yourself, can I serve people who actually could not afford or use my or other solutions? If I can use them, if I can serve them, then it's a possibility to create disruptive innovation. Is it crappy solution from the perspective of incumbent industry, from the perspective of major players? Because it is, they don't want to touch it. So they won't be your competitors, they will just say, okay, this is market for you. So there are some, let's say, litmus tests to see if your disruption, if your innovation is disruptive or not. But let's say, because this is a bit theoretical, am I quite practical now? So to see, when we are talking about value evolution or how to create value for our customers. Actually, customers don't want to buy better things always. For me, actually, there is no point to pay for extra power of processor, because I cannot use it. At the beginning, I was willing to buy for extra functionality because it was not good enough. So if you are playing on a market where offer or value proposition is not good enough, that allows you to get extra money for extra functionality. So better products could get more money. But if your products are good enough, from my perspective, I don't want to pay more for better product. I would like to drive a car of 500 horsepower. But in Croatia we have quite decent roads. So actually with 100 horsepower, I'm already driving 30 kilometers more than I'm supposed to drive. And there are no needs for sudden acceleration. So, okay, extra 400 pounds would be good for my macho ego. But actually I don't want to pay 20,000 euros or more for extra 400. If someone wants to give me those extra 400 pounds, okay. But if I need to pay, I don't want to pay because I already am well served with the power of my car. When you are good at functionality, you actually want to drive all the time. If I have a strong enough processor, I want to run that processor all the time. So it's not like today it's working and tomorrow it's not. So actually I'm willing to pay for extra reliability. So you can offer, instead of extra functionality, it will work all the time. But if it works good, and if it works all the time, there are no need for next improvement. So next improvement is simplicity. So you need to create product for morals. Because I'm a smart guy, but for computers I'm moral. So if you want to sell me computer, you need to sell me a simple to use computer. That will work all the time, that will have good enough functionality, but if I need to know just push the button and nothing else, I will be happy. And when everything is set and everything is okay, then it comes to price. And then the commoditization starts. But the price is the last part. So if everything is okay, then you start to compete on price, and then it's a very difficult market. That's mature. The other thing, the new customers or non-consumers. Well, non-consumers are those customers that cannot buy. So actually they are not customers. Actually they are not on the market. Those non-consumers are excellent source for innovation. It's great if you find a way how to sell things to the people that wouldn't buy. Because actually, in that way you are the single company on the market, and it's great. Well, probably someone will see that you are selling lots, so they will come and you will have you. So there are 4 reasons why people cannot buy. And those 4 reasons can also be a great source of ideas for how to create innovations or how to improve your business. First, let's say, barrier for consumption is I don't know how to use your product. If I don't understand English, I cannot read English books. If I can't drive, I cannot buy cars. If I need to have a PhD in electronics, I could not buy Apple I. Apple I was sold in kits. So actually you need to know to put those all elements and processors and chips all together. So Apple I was sold in 200 pieces. Because there is not so much people with the knowledge of PhD in electronics. Apple II was designed for morons. For us, who will use computer just with pushing the button. And it's sold in 600,000 pieces. So that is the difference between creating the product for guys with skills or creating the product for guys without skills. The other reason for non-consumers is if you are not having your product in China, no Chinese cannot buy your product. Well, it's a common sense, but usually people just forget about those things. So if people don't have opportunity to buy your products, they won't. If it's not accustomed to them, they won't. So ask yourself, am I offering my products to everyone that wants to buy? If there is no opportunity, nothing will happen. I will come to that later on when we will discuss the business model, but this is really important. And of course, no time for usage or consume. If there is too much time to buy from your customers, or if customers need to spend too much time in using, and they don't have that time, actually they won't buy. They will say, you have a great product, I like it very much, but I simply don't have time to use it. I stopped reading my newspapers, so I stopped buying newspapers because I don't have time to read. Because they were coming and they were just piling, and every Sunday I was, okay, I now read all newspapers from all the week, and then that was absurd. So I stopped buying newspapers because there was no time for it. I just browsed and go from that side. And of course, the fourth generic barrier is if there is no money, no one. If people that don't have money cannot buy. And actually, I saw some few great examples here in Moldova. If you want to implant implants and make new teeth, you need to have a lot of money. But here in Moldova, I will see you need to have 19 euros per month for an implant. So it's basically, that's a great way how to innovate. So all those elements are great areas for innovation, and basically they don't have anything to do with new product, or basically they have a lot of things with innovating your customers or innovating your markets. So, because there are a lot of technologies, but the problem is, can customers, or are you ready to serve some customers that usually cannot use the technology? So look for the innovation everywhere, not just in new technologies or new products, because sometimes it's much cheaper to create this type of innovation than not new technology or new product. And innovation is think about money, and it's a money game, numbers game, and it's good to be cheap when innovating, because it raises your chances for success. Well, in the last 20 years, especially in 10 years, basically we understood the rules of innovation. Why feather? Centuries ago, people thought that in order to fly, you need to have a feather in your hand. Why? Because birds have feathers. And because they were just looking. And decades ago, people also innovated in very similar ways, basically making trials and errors because they didn't understand the rules of innovation. They said, okay, they innovated in this way, they're organized in this way, so I will do the same. Basically, don't do that. Try to understand the rules of innovation and then make innovation, not just complicate how someone is organized. Because it's not a question of feathers, it's a question of difference between static and the dynamic air pressure and some speed. So there are exact physical rules how to fly. So they are not so exact, but basically quite good rules how to create innovation. And I will give you some, let's say, tips and then some tools. Basically, it's not about creativity. Because a lot of people when they talk about innovation, the most important thing is to be creative. No. The most important thing, single most important thing, is to find a good problem. If you find a good problem, then you have a great opportunity to innovate. And what is the good problem? Good problem is the problem that someone wants to pay for his solution. If someone has a problem and wants to pay to get rid of that problem, that is a good problem. If someone has a problem, but then doesn't want to pay for that problem, that's not a good problem. So basically, find a problem worth solving, and then you have basis for innovation. And then you will find creative or less creative way to solve that problem, but the idea is start with the problem not start with a lot of ideas and creative process, because that will probably get you nowhere. This is the first transistor, and that was invented in 47 and 48 in the United States. But basically they didn't find a good problem. The Japanese found a good problem and made the manual transistor. Americans invested a lot of money, Japanese made money, because they were solving the problems. Those were inventing technologies. Americans. Size, well, in innovation, size does not matter. More than 50% of the innovations that changed the world were created and first time commercialized in the companies smaller than 20 employees. But there is a catch. It was before the Second World War, the ratio was 70% of the innovations that changed the world were invented in smaller companies. And today only 25% of the innovation. Why? Big companies know how systematically learn. So actually they took the processes and the way how to innovate from small companies and actually implement them within the big companies. So now it's not just because they learn. So at the end, there is also one rule: hungry for profit, patient for growth. It's much. So when I work with companies, I never suggest them to say we will be profitable when we scale. Now we can lose the money, because if you need to, I don't know, conquer all Europe to make profitable, you might go bust half the way. So it's much better to be profitable in Moldova, so you will have a cash to conquer Europe, than to, so be hungry, try to create innovations that will pay its bill, pay for its lunch today, not in 3 years when we will sell hundreds of thousands. It's impossible. So try to be hungry for profit and don't insist that you are going to be big. So small, it's nice. Profits will make you big, because you will have the juice for it. It's not always about technology. So Swatch was a crappy product that saved the Swiss watch industry. Luxurious Swiss watch industry made money on Swatch, which was basically nothing new, but it was about creating a business model, creating great value proposition, creating a different value, selling to those people that couldn't afford expensive models, but basically wanted to buy Swiss watches and different watches. So actually they made money on cheap stuff, not on material. Usually people are very, I want to be first. No, you don't need to be first. You can be copycat. You don't even need to be original. This is a drink called Crater Dynamic, which is basically a copycat of one Korean energy drink, which is a copycat of one Japanese energy drink. And that Crater Dynamic was, one guy was working in one global sales and distribution. Basically, he was a global salesman. And he ended in Thailand. And he had a jet lag. He was all fuzzy. And they said, okay, drink this. And he drank it. It tasted like some cough medicine. It was very sweet and awful, but basically it raised him. He was nice and very cheerful after that. He said, wow, this is great stuff. Can I talk with the guy who actually produced it? And the guy said, but this is not original stuff. There are a lot of stuffs around here. I said, okay, can we make a joint business? And I said, okay, I can take it to Austria. I will put it in tin can. I will take all the sugar out and put the CO2 in it. And the name is Crater Dynamic. What does it mean in English? It means Red Bull. Okay, we can name it Red Bull. It's good stuff. And that's how Red Bull was created. in a small country, Austria, for money that Croatian Agency for Innovation can double it. It took $1 million for create rental. Now it's multi-billion-dollar empire, and Coca-Cola can, let's say, just say, well, I hate it or whatever, but basically it was created for relatively small amount of money in a small country and made a global success. And it wasn't original. So basically it was better and more convenient than other solution, and it just made it possible. So actually everyone can learn to innovate. Most of those stuff are actually free. You just Google some buzzwords and go to Amazon for $100 or $200. You can buy a lot of books and give a lot of insights in how to create innovation, and that will help you to create new products and services and to be more competitive. So just you need to be open-minded, because if you are saying, well, a lot of times I see people, okay, we want to be innovative, but as long as we can work like we used to work. Even in small companies, I face that, especially in family companies, because family companies tend to be very conservative. If you want to innovate, you need to change yourself, your products, your way how you serve your markets. So you need to be open-minded, and then you can learn. If you are saying, I will be innovative, as long as I'm saying the same, it's not a good way how to innovate. Because markets won't change because you want them to change. You need to change how markets are changing, because that's the only way around. And like I said, be hungry for profit and patient for growth, because money will buy you time for creating your innovations and to be possible. So they said that well, it's great thing that the government will open some funds and ways how to fund innovation, because there are two things that are very important for innovation. First is, of course, money. And this is, usually I don't like to show this graph, but basically it shows that you are, at the beginning, you are losing money. And the subsidies for innovation are, let's say, acceptable subsidies in every country. For other things, the subsidies are not acceptable, but for innovation, it's. Why? Because there is that value of debt in which when you have a problem with cash, because you need to invest and you start to make money, but basically you are still losing money and need to invest in your market, in your distribution, So if you can get the funds from the government, great. If you can have funds from your investors, great, but that's something that we can talk about later, and you will get more insight. So I won't talk about it more. And of course, customers. And when innovation are concerned, it's very important to know that there are two types of customers: smart ones and dumb ones. Smart customers are your first customers that will buy and use your product in a way that even you don't know why they are using it and how they are using it, but they will use it. And then you will say, oh great, there are a lot of customers and I'm just started, so. And then you start to sell and push complicated products. But which is good for smart customers, but it's not good for us dumb customers. And then smart customers are very few, and when you cover all the smart customers, basically the market is closed. So it's very important to create products and services for us mortals, for dumb customers, not for smart customers, because those are dumb customers, and this very, very small part are smart customers. So it's always good when your product or service is easy to use, needs less time, it's very simple, it's very practical, because it will be created for smart, dumb customers, for the majority. So think of that. Okay, you can make money on smart customers, but you must understand that it's a very limited game and it won't last. You need to make very simple and to use products in order to ship it on a major market. If you see that someone has a great product that solves a problem, but only for smart customers, so try to innovate and make it for us dumb customers, because that's great innovation. Because Amazon wasn't the first internet store, but it was the most practical for us dumb customers. So, you know, there are a lot of stories about success stories for the companies that were not the first, but that they're accustomed to the majority. So, first customers are very special, but try to learn them and make money and go to the mainstream customers. As I understood, most of you are not startups, so this is not a talk for startups, but there is a great lesson from startups when it comes to innovation. Even if you are already running a, let's say, old company, you need to understand if you created a very new stuff, it's not business as usual. So when you are trying to ship new stuff, there are two very important steps. First step is customer development. So find customer, see if those customers are really your customer, and when you are set, and then change. Because you will see what is the, when I will talk about the idea, well, you will see the only sure thing when you are creating it. And then when you change, and then when you are sure that you nail it, that you know your customer, then scale it. Then try to make a big business. Don't bet everything on the things that you are not sure, because then you are in very, very risky business. So this is customer development. Just Google it and you will find a lot of resources and a lot of stuff about it. And what about innovation types? So they asked me to talk about innovation types, and I will try to give you my point of view, which innovation exists. So yes, very important technology innovation. When you are creating, you are inventing electric power, or you are inventing, I don't know, transistors, or you are inventing internet. Or, so when you are creating technology that allows anyone to create product, that's great. But it's very, very long way to commercialize technology. And it usually takes a lot of money to commercialize technology. So it's nice to make breakthrough things, but it's a long way, very difficult way, with a lot of money to put that technology on market. Of course, something that it's the first thing when we talk about innovation is a product and service innovation. So you create a product, or you create services based on that product, and then put that on the market. We'll talk more about it. But that's not the only. It's not me. No. Product. My opinion, my experience is that commercializing a product is more expensive than, in general, than commercializing the service, because it needs more investments and everything. But that's a rule of thumb. It's not a general rule, but in order to make production. But once you start the production of your product, then the scaling up is much easier than scaling up the services. Process innovation is very important. So you might not actually change anything, so everything looks like a black box, but basically you are shipping goods from one point of the world to the other point of the world in a different way. That's what containers bring to the shipping industry. Or you can grow your lettuce in a hydroponic, well, actually I don't see that it changed, but it just got it in a different way, and maybe cheaper, or maybe on a higher quality or lower quality, but cleaner or whatever But so that's something that customers usually cannot see, but it's very important part of the innovation stuff, because it might allow you to lower your prices or to be more accustomed to your customers. So basically it allows you to compete with your competitors in a different way, just by changing the way how you work. And of course, something that I want to talk, and then we will talk later on much more about it, business model innovation. When you actually don't change anything, but the way how the things are done. So low-cost airlines has the same flight, same pilots, more or less same airports, same flight control, everything is the same, but they are 10 times cheaper, or 50 times cheaper, it depends, or 3 times cheaper. And they are more profitable than those companies that charge more. And they have a higher level of satisfaction than regular airline companies. So how could it be? And that is business model innovation. When you actually took all the same elements of the regular industry and then just switch it in order to deliver better value, much more cheaper value, or in some other way, different way of doing business. I will try to give you one tool later on during the workshop, how to create business model innovation or how to analyze business models. So what to do? Find a problem which is worth solving. So basically, and your invention could solve. So first find the problem, and then find your invention that can solve the problem, because then it might be innovation. In order to place it where it fits, and it's not because you will make people happy. It's because it's not, well, yes, okay, if you deliver higher value, they will be happier. But it's about extra value. If you deliver extra value, you can deliver extra money. It's about delivering value. And then you can charge it, and then you can make money out of your invention. So, in order to create something new, when I was reading the cases and insights from the previous analysis, I also find two very similar things that Moldova has with Croatia. And I want to share them, because this is not regular part of the regular lectures about innovations, but I think it's very important because it's especially for the SMEs. First thing is innovation and corruption. Because, okay, corruption is in some countries part of how things are done. I don't want to discuss morality of corruption because it's not my thing to do. But I want to give you the view from the point of the innovation. Problem with corruption when it comes to innovation is that corruption turns you in a different way. It forces you to do right the opposite things that innovation forces you. Because when you have corrupted relations, the idea is to have much more expensive products because the cut will be higher. To have less quality product because they are going to buy more. So everyone will be more happy. And to have very, very specific products, because when it comes to public bids, that is the way how your competitors will be disqualified. We got some example of something for the railroads that causes a big crash. That's an accident, so we learned it. That was pink color. It doesn't have anything with coloring in it, but it was pink, and that was put into the public bid, and that's why they won, because it was corrupt relations and it was very, very crappy product and causes some lives. But that is thing. If well, actually, corruption will make you not competitive on the foreign markets. So if you are having, or those who are having that type of relation, must know that they are not competitive, and if they are making money on that time, this type of making business, it won't help them when they are going abroad or on a regular market. The other thing is gray economy. Cash money is nothing. There is nothing better than cash money. Well, someone will say. But the problem is that it's very deep. I also want to discuss if it's moral or whatever, but because it's not the point. The problem is that the scaling your business is very difficult if you are running it under the radar. If you are, because it's difficult to manage it. It's okay to have a small, let's say, factory or hair salon or whatever, and make it everything out of the books. But in order to have a chain of hair salon, it's impossible to make it as a great economy because it's impossible to run it. Because you can be only one hair salon at a time. So that is the problem with the gray economy. You cannot scale your business if it's mostly based on gray economy. And of course, you are not, your credit rating will be very low. You will ask, you're having a lot of money. You are driving a big car, but your company does nothing. So you come to bank and say, okay, I have a big house and big house, but okay, but you make a few thousand euros annual income, your credit rating is low, so you won't get the credit, so you will have a problem also with that. So those are two issues that you need to, let's say, have in mind when you are trying to make innovations and when you are trying to commercialize them and scale them on let's say, wider level. So basically, try to not, don't reinvent the wheel. We really know how to create innovations. It's not trial and error. You can do that better than that. And you will get a list of some methodologies, some websites, and some books later on, so you can also try to explore more. I don't know if it's time for questions. Are there questions, or I can continue with the next? We are more or less on time, right? Yes. Questions?
About the Red Bull.
Yeah.
There was the very interesting thing that all the focus groups said that it's never will be solved, and no. About the Red Bull. All the focus groups said that it's never be drink it and never be sold. So it's not just a question about from where it's come and how it was the history. The thing is that all the marketing instruments in the time when was the research about the Red Bull says that it's not the case of the real life.
Yeah, well, that is the problem with marketing analysis. Regular marketing analysis don't work when it comes to innovation. Because it's very difficult to analyze markets that don't exist. You cannot interview customers that are not customers. It was also the story of how AT&T analyzed the market for mobile phones 40 years ago. And they did analysis in the old way. And they said, and at that time, the mobile phones were, I don't know, 5 kilos with a big antenna and I don't know, huge batteries. So basically, you need to have a limo in order to become a buyer for the mobile phone. And they, one high-end consulting company did a global analysis of the market, and there were 100,000 people that actually fit into that criteria. And they never, well, it took 10 years for them to, because they decided it's too small market, they don't want to enter, because I will give you the tools how to analyze the market that don't exist later on.
This was the question.
Yeah.
One more question. Yes, the question is about innovation and corruption. You said that corruption... Sorry. Question is about innovation and corruption. You said that corruption makes you non-competitive. Unfortunately, in our society, I think in Croatia it is the same, maybe it was the same. Corruption makes you more competitive. And the question is, why more competitive? Everybody knows why. The question is, do you know the innovation schemes or maybe mechanisms that can make you more competitive in corruption society?
Schemes.
Well, basically I believe in market. And corruption is non-market force. It's a special way when basically you disqualify the market. So it's difficult well, there are innovation methods how to create a product that will be fit for corruption. But it's make more expensive product, make more quality, so it will be bought more often. But that's not something that the good product will be. So if you need, like I said, I'm not. It's not about morality. It's about common sense. I don't want to preach to anyone to not to be corrupted but corruption. If your success is based on corruption, you are not competitive on foreign markets.
If I could just add to that, so the last thing that Boris said is very valid. Indeed, as we know, in many countries like Moldova, like Croatia used to be, like Bulgaria.
Croatia still has a problem.
Still has problems. Bulgaria, where I used to spend a lot of time, anywhere in the former Soviet Union, obviously there is a lot of corruption. It's either or, right? So you're either you can indeed be very competitive on the domestic market with corrupt schemes, but this will prevent you from becoming really competitive on a global market, on a foreign market, even if you want to go to a neighboring country, right? So it's a question which, it's a dilemma, a choice that entrepreneurs have to make, whether they want to keep doing the easy stuff, but one day it will be gone, right? You can, at some point, we see this for instance in Romania, you guys are, I think the phone is working, you guys are well aware that in Romania there's a massive crackdown on corruption happening right now. So one day, sooner or later, you'll get in trouble, and in the best case, that business will stop for you. In the worst case, you can go to jail, right? Or you can do the hard part and become innovative, which probably means saying no to the easy stuff, and that's hard. That's actually really hard. I know. It's just I broke the mic with my voice. That's it.
So probably it's a different business model. Corruption and regular, and it's very difficult to run two business models at the same time. It's very difficult, and it's also part of the innovation methodologies and the innovation body of knowledge how to run two different business models. If you made money on corruption, let's say, and you now want to make a competitive business, make it as a spin-off. And then start it and say, okay, but this will be a strictly market-based business. And if you fail, you fail. But you are responsible for that. So I will talk about those strategic innovations or how to create spin-off or very, very different businesses. But basically, if you make money on corruption or whatever, and want to try something for real, that will allow you to go even on the foreign markets, because it's very difficult to go outside. Make it as a spin-off, and then don't mix two business models, because it's very difficult, usually impossible.